Benefield, Gerard Bonner, and Diana Michelle.
What's going on, everybody? It's Friday. You know what that means. It's time for your favorite podcast, the SHW podcast. This is our Wrestling on B Double Brandon Benefield, alongside the great GB Gerard Bonner and the beautiful Diana Michelle. You guys, we just came off of an insane show last Friday, SHW68. One of the most shocking endings in SHW history. We'll get to all of it, but first, I'm still reeling from it a little bit. But first, how has everybody's week been? We're here. It's good to see you guys. How we doing?
It's good. It's been one of those long weeks,
Yeah.
and I feel like the end is coming. It's here. Yeah. There's a lot to unpack, so I don't want to talk too much about the week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been quite the week on a lot of fronts. And yeah, I'm sure I'm going to drop a bomb on you guys that I have not told you off air. It'll come up in the show.
Okay.
So yeah, when you might be able, I don't know if you've had similar dealings, but we'll find out by the time we're all over. So needless to say, I'm glad to be here with you guys. And yeah.
Diana, I don't
now. I'm just like, I'm waiting. I'm like,
I don't know what to expect now.
I promise you, it's going to come up. It has everything to do with this show, and I'll just be intrigued to see if you guys had similar experiences.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Well, all right. Well, let's get going
Let's
here.
jump in.
Yeah, let's
With
dig
the,
right in.
SHW68 recap last Friday, emanating from the Action Building in Canton, Georgia. We had 7 big old matches lined up on the card. We had some successful title defenses. We had an absolutely insane main event. And of course, a very unforgettable way that the show went off the air. But let's just start at the beginning. Something unusual we don't normally see. We started the show with a Southern Honor Championship matchup. And GB, you can obviously speak for yourself here, but I feel like I speak for all of us, including our new commentary partner, Sal Renaro, when I say I think this was the match of the night, and it made it very hard for any other match to follow it. It was Joe Black defending against Jackson Drake. What a match it was. Either of you guys, your thoughts and your thoughts on this crazy matchup.
Diana?
I remember right as the match was not even before it even ended, I had already made a note on my paper, match of the night. I had already noted that. I knew it. That was crazy. Where did this Jackson Drake guy come from? Jack. What's his name?
Jackson Drake.
Why
he came
am I
from
not
North Carolina?
Yeah. Specifically, the Firestar Pro Wrestling Academy, headed up by LeBron Cozone.
Okay.
And I am a big fan. Well, I'm trying to save my Jackson Drake conversation, but you asked, so I will fill in the rest of the blanks when. Go ahead and finish your thoughts, and then I'll.
Well, my thoughts was like, wow, what a first match of the night, and I know there's a lot of history between him and Joe. I had no doubt Joe was going to retain. I mean, he's champion we needed for a long time, and we wanted for a long time. Had no doubt about that. But wow, what a fight! What a back and forth fight. I mean, Jackson Drake didn't hold back. He had a lot to bring to the table, and it was great. I think also that it was good for Joe to have such good competition, because it's not like, oh, just any Tom, Dick, and Harry gets a shot at the title, I have to defend. Give me somebody worthy. I think this was worthy. I think this was a worthy opponent.
Yeah, so Jackson Drake, as we were mentioning, a member and graduate of the Firestar Pro Wrestling Academy out of North Carolina, put together by LeBron Cozone, who I am a big fan of. LeBron Cozone has trained so many people. Griff Garrison.
Early fans of Southern Honor might remember LeBron Cozone. He showed up a time or two in maybe the very first year, I think. But it's we've seen him before. It's been a while, but yeah, awesome talent. Yeah.
Incredible talent. He He's trained Griff Garrison, who you've seen in AEW. He's also trained Javon Evans, who you've seen in WWE and NXT. And Javon Evans is actually the longtime tag team partner of Jackson Drake. Jackson Drake comes highly touted, and Jackson Drake is one of those examples, kind of reminds me of some other talents that have come through. Jaden Newman specifically comes to mind, of talents who are highly touted outside of SHW, and our SHW audience may not immediately know them coming in the door, but all they need is one match. And
Right.
you suddenly realize, holy cow.
Right.
What Jackson Drake brought to the table last week was so special. And for that to be the match that kicked off the show, it set the bar incredibly high. You guys called it the match of the night. I'm going to go so far as to say it's a match of the year candidate.
Amen.
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Easily.
Mhm.
And there are other people who have been talking about, what they considered match of the year in other spaces. I dare anybody to go grab any of those matches in any of those other promotions and put it up against Joe Black versus Jackson Drake. Unbelievable. That match went, I think, 20, 25 minutes. And I'm just going, this is how we're starting the show.
Right.
Like, that's incredible. What's equally incredible is what Joe Black said to Jackson Drake after the match. He spoke so highly of him, said that he expects to see him on TV really soon, go make some real money. Now, I'm going to drop this little birdie because we don't tend to talk about this, but it all works together, right?
It does.
Last night, it was reported that WWE had ID'd somebody from the Firestar Pro Wrestling Academy. I just happen to think it's Jackson Drake. Now, by the time you all are watching this, you should know who it is. But remember, I told you first. Jackson Drake. And if it's not, I mean, anybody out of there obviously is very worthy, but given what Jackson has done, it's pretty incredible, which is another reason why you need to always be at an SHW show, because you're guaranteed to see someone who's going to be on your TV screen on a larger scale sooner rather than later. And so I can't say enough about this match. And, in this era where people try to rate people's championship reigns, I think a successful championship reign has a lot to do with the kinds of matches and the caliber of opponents that the champion is battling. We've talked before about champions who either didn't show up every show, or when they did, they battled random people that showed up that didn't prove to be worthy of those matches. Not the case with Jackson Drake. And how about this Joe Black, who defended the SHW championship 3 times in 28 days?
I mean,
Incredible.
that's my champion.
Yeah.
No knock to the guys at GWH, Georgia Wrestling History. Sometimes they don't have all their facts straight when they put out the reports. The report that got put out for this show, I'm not going to name names, but it said this was Joe Black's first title defense, and I immediately went, incorrect. Third title defense in 28 days. And GB,
Correct.
we talked about this the other night. More title defenses in this reign than he had put together in his first reign. He only had 1 title defense in that first reign before he had to relinquish it due to injury. So pretty impressive already in just 1 month's time, successfully defending that thing 3 times. And just as a quick reminder, he defended against the Kenway at Forever Pro. Then a week later, he defended against Elijah Drago at the benefit show, Fight for the Children. And then a couple of weeks later, SHW68, another successful title defense. The man is working, and we love to see it, man. It's boy, it was one heck of a way to start a show. And you talk about potential match of the year. And in our eyes, yes, definitely a match of the year. It's at least a candidate for match
For
of the year.
sure.
And it's crazy to think that 2 back-to-back SHW shows has spawned 2
True.
huge candidates for match of the year. Of course,
True.
Fight for the Children a couple of weeks back. We saw QT Marshall and our Jake the Snake Legacy champion, Kyle Matthews, have one heck of a match as well. And before we get to our next thing, our next matchup on this card, speaking of Fight for the Children, at that show, we saw the Warden take on Alexander Levin singles action, and then swerve us all, and then come together and then jump the infantry at that show, which set up their match for last weekend. We'll talk about that here in a minute. Somebody that was missing from that night was one Grayson Pierce. And we talk about the Faithful Gauntlet match that happened a few weeks prior at Still Here 6. And, of course, the Faithful lost. We thought the Faithful were going to disband. We didn't know what it all meant, where they would all go. Well, we see this interesting, mysterious video package following our opening matchup from Grayson Pierce, where he said he was going to like take a chance on himself, going to take a big risk. I mean, what were your thoughts when you saw that? Either one of you guys, what'd you think?
I was a little excited. I like Grayson as solo. I like him outside the fold. I thought he did amazing against Barry Morales 2 weeks prior. I would like to see him not be in not the Faithful, what they call them, the family, the Lost Family now, or whatever it is, Lost Brothers. Isn't that like a
Lost Boys? You're thinking
Boys.
The Lost
Not
Boys,
Lonely
yes.
Boys is what I'm thinking of.
Los Lonely Boys, totally different. There's the Lost Boys. There's Los
The
Lonely
Lost
Boys.
Boys, yeah.
These are the Lost Brothers.
Yeah, so it's the Lost Brothers or whatever. I would love to see him not be in any kind of action and just do his own thing. He has such a presence when he comes out just by himself that I think that would be enough. But, whatever he wants to do is fine. It is what it is. But I was excited. I mean, I didn't know what he was planning on doing. My God, when he did what he did.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, it wouldn't be the last time we would see him that night. But GB, what do you think?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a wild video. And, anytime you are searching for identity outside of the thing that has defined you, it can make you very, very dangerous. And I think that's one of the things that we learned from the video itself, which was wild and awkward and unusual, to what we would see later that night, which was wild, awkward, and unusual. Dare I say unhinged.
Yes.
Welcome to the story of Grayson Pierce. Sheesh.
Yeah. What does it all mean? And again, we'll touch on it here in a little bit as to where we saw him again later in the night. But heading into our next matchup of the night, we saw the returning, not only earlier in the night did we see the returning Jackson Drake in singles action, but we also saw the return of Aaron Dallas in singles action. And man, oh man, I said it on commentary, I think, GB, where it's rare that we see a guy come in to Southern Honor and then right away just take the fans by storm and is a fan favorite. We talk about Cody Fluffman. We talk about Hold My Beer Hansen. Well, Aaron has the crowd chanting. I mean, there were signs all over the place. The chants were loud. I mean, it was crazy, but he had his hands full taking on in-game member Nick Halen. And we wondered, coming off of the Nick Halen CT Keys matchup, where his head was going to be, where the end game stood, especially after Judas losing the title. But man, what a match this was. And Aaron, while not successful, I mean, he was outnumbered. It's always a numbers game when it comes to the end game. But Aaron Dallas, man, putting up a heck of a fight and really putting on a good show. And the fans just absolutely love him. It's great.
What is it? I mean, what is it that these guys have?
He's that blue collar rock star.
Exactly. He's one of the guys. He's one of me. He's one of the normal people, right? Like people get behind him, and God, to see people just go over and over Aaron. It was fun. I mean, it felt like, this is a home crowd boy. He's just here doing what he does, whatever it is. But I think Nick, God bless him, he has a point to prove. He has some kind of, chip on his shoulder because he's not doing very well. I mean, he's not had a lot of wins in his column lately.
Thing is, he can win the big one in other places, but he's never won the big one.
But he's never done it here.
Southern
right.
Honor. Yeah.
And that's wild. So he's got something to prove, and I think it went a little farther than it should have gone. But it's the end game, so it's not what we did not expect, I guess you can say, because it's them. It is what it is.
Yeah, to the point of Aaron Dallas, he is proof that people want to see someone they can relate to in the
Yes.
ring. And when you feel like you see yourself, you can cheer for that. And so that is what has struck a chord with the SHW faithful. Interestingly enough, there were multiple things that were happening all in this match. There is Aaron Dallas looking for another win against a veteran. This veteran, of course, being Nick Halen. We were wondering what in the world is going on with the end game after that very contentious fight that happened between Nick Halen and CT Keys at Still Here 6. We wondered, would they all be all right? And the part that you guys don't know and won't know until you watch this back is the fun part of having a certain veteran on commentary with us who had a certain connection to one Aaron Dallas, and getting his insight, that, of course, being Sal Rinauro, was most interesting and most entertaining. So even if you were in the building, trust me, you'll want to go back and watch to hear what Sal Rinauro has to say about the guy who did what very few people do in SHW, come in on their debut match and win. With all of that said, by the end of the match, it appeared as though things were seemingly okay with the end game. CT Keys comes out. They're, doing what they do kind of as brothers. And of course, CT Keys comes out after Kyle Matthews, looks to provide the save there for Aaron Dallas when Dallas got beat up after the match. That would lead into the next match, which we'll talk about. But this end game situation looked like it was okay by the end of the Nick Halen match.
Yeah, by the end of that match. But to your point, GB, and we'll lead right into it here, the Jake the Snake Legacy Championship match. We knew CT Keys, having beat Nick Halen at Still Here 6, became the #1 contender and had that opportunity the other night against Kyle Matthews. Kyle Matthews had come out to make the save. CT's music hit. And GB, we weren't even sure if that match was supposed to be next on the card.
Right.
It just seemed that Kyle was coming out to help Aaron. And then here comes CT. Well, okay, we're going to have the JTS championship match right now. And it was an incredible match. The thing is, we knew going into it, it was the technical prowess of Kyle Matthews and just the brute power, brute strength of CT Keys. And that power was on full display for the majority of the match. Now, the other guys, members of the end game, stayed out there for the match. And it was what happened towards the end that kind of allowed Kyle to get the win there with Nick Halen up on the ring apron, distracting the referee. CT, whether you like it or not, it was some dirty tactics, but he had the pin and he had him down for more than 3, but the ref was distracted by Halen. Kyle ends up hitting that slurpee kick in the corner, quick roll up, boom, retains the JTS Legacy Championship. And right away, CT looks at Nick Halen and is like, what are you doing? You just you screwed me here. What's going on? And we're right back to where we left off the last show, where they're faced off in the ring. Todd Sexton's in there trying to break him up, and all the way to the back they're shoving. And so, what are we thinking about this whole? We thought maybe they got it out of their system. It's still here. When Todd was with us on commentary for that, he's like, they're just blowing off steam. They'll be fine. They came into this show seemingly on the same page. And then it ended like it did at the last one. So what do we think, GB? What are your thoughts on that?
I will say that it's hard to not cite jealousy for Nick Halen. Diana made a great point that Nick has not been on the winning side as of late. And I just, and I alluded to this during the pre-show, the real test of their brotherhood is going to be, all right, can Nick Halen watch somebody else do what he couldn't do? Nick Halen could not become the #1 contender. So you mean you want me to stand out here outside of the ring and support you winning the championship when I couldn't win one? And I'll go so far as to say this. There's a lot of history between Nick Halen and CT Keys.
Mm-hmm.
outside of SHW. And to me, it is an amazing thing that Todd Sexton has been able to get these guys on the same page to work together for the same cause. Because let's just rip the Band-Aid off and say this: Nick Halen has never defeated CT Keys in a one-on-one match. Never, no, not ever. And so I don't think that it's in Nick Halen to sit and watch somebody win a championship that he doesn't get access to. Remember, he didn't want to be called co-wrestler of the year. So he retired the other guy that was. So, I mean, Nick Halen doesn't seemingly play well with others. And now that there's no SHW championship in the end game, it would have meant that CT Keys would have been the kingpin of the end game because he had the gold. Nick Halen is not feeling that at all. And so he may never say it, but we can clearly see it. And so can CT Keys. And I'm sorry, but it's just not in me to fight somebody like CT Keys.
No.
Sorry. You can have the title, sir. I'll go find another championship. Maybe me and Todd can be the tag team champions. But you go ahead and take that JTS Legacy Championship, because now what's hard is it was clear he had Kyle Matthews pinned, and the argument could be made that CT Keys could be the champion right now had Nick Halen not distracted the ref. And did he do it intentionally? Watch the match and you tell me.
Yeah. It's hard for us to tell. I don't know, but you mentioned a second ago, GB, that Halen might be in that mindset of why should I have to be out here and watch your back while you're having this matchup? You beat me for this opportunity. It made me think back to, I guess it was SHW65 heading into Still Here when they had the big #1 contenders match for the SHW championship, where Halen pinned CT Keys to eliminate him from that match, and then had him stay out there and assist him to try to defeat Joe Black. Same kind of thing, right? It's just the hypocrisy there of Nick Halen now on the flip side of that. And anyways, it is what it is. I don't know what this means for the end game. I'm sure if you ask Todd Sexton, he'll say the same thing he did a month ago, where they're fine. We'll talk about it backstage, or just blowing off steam. Well, how many times can you use that excuse? Like, how long is that going to go for? But a big tip of the cap, though, to Kyle Matthews. 2 straight shows that were 2 weeks apart, where he fought guys that he never faced before in his entire 20-plus year career. In QT Marshall and then CT Keys, and to be successful both times in very big matchups and retaining that JTS Legacy Championship. So tip of the cap to Kyle Matthews for sure on that. But
let me say something quickly in that. It's interesting because, it felt like at Still Here 6, we had a full changing of the guard all throughout the company, all new champions. And with that, it feels like we have suddenly fighting champions, champions who are willing to do things in their career they've never done before. And so to watch veterans like Kyle Matthews and Joe Black really be at the best of their game right now, that says a lot about where our company is and where this promotion is. And I think you can put all of our champions up against champions from any other company, any other brand, and you'll see we literally have the best fighting champions right now in the business, and I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, and both the guys you just mentioned, veterans, been around quite a while and are at their best right now.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
And they've been great for a long time. But I mean, they're just both at the top of their game, and I love to see it here in Southern Honor. But on a night where some crazy, upsetting things would end up happening later in the show, this next thing, which actually wasn't live in the building, just something we saw a video package of, really got our attention and really got us excited for the December 6th show, SHW69. And that was, GB, you want to say who's coming?
The Suplex Assassin.
Oh, man.
The captain of the Beaumaye Fight Club, the forever MLW World Champion, Alex Kane, who's graced our building once before inside of the Rumble Jack, but now will make his official singles debut in Southern Honor. This is about to be a problem, folks.
I was about to say, are you going to say that phrase? Because if you wasn't, I was gonna.
And we don't know who he's facing. We just know he's going to be in action. But I do not envy whoever gets nominated to stand across from him in his singles match debut at SHW69. But man, we are excited to see Alex Kane. That's going to be huge, man.
Who would you put?
I don't know.
Who would you? Who would you give him?
Who's brave enough to step up?
That's the real question.
Feed? Yeah.
That's the real question.
And does Jake call him and say, "Hey, I've got you against Alex Kane, and do you have an option?" Like, no, I think I'm good.
They just hang up. And they're
You're like, no, I think I'm already booked that night. Or, I'm somewhere else, and you just don't show up. Or what do you do? Or do they let him come in for the title shot? I mean,
well, I think
what a match that would be, though.
Well, Joe's already booked in the big fans bring the weapons.
And we'll get to that. Yeah.
So he's booked up. We'll get to that in a minute. But so I don't know who's going to go one-on-one with Kane.
He's fought twice before for 2 titles.
That's a good point.
He has. Point. I think it could be, what tends to happen in these moments are people from outside of SHW who have been waiting to get into the company are looking for their one shot. And sometimes their only shot comes in moments like these. And think about whoever that could be. If you defeat Alex Kane in his SHW debut,
write your own ticket.
This is the only guy to have held the Action and MLW world titles at the same time. So if you can do that, you've earned your place on the roster.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it. So I think somebody might be brave enough. It won't be me, though.
Yeah. I don't see it happening. I don't know who it could be, but I don't see anybody coming in and beating Alex Kane in his singles debut here at SHW. We'll find out soon enough as the date gets closer. I'm sure we'll see match announcements dropping on social media. But
we
another
can make
guy,
it a whole game, though. We could do a whole game about this match. We can count how many suplexes. We can count how many different types of suplexes. It could be a whole game.
Oh,
we would all be crawling home if it was a drinking game. We would all, if that was the case. Suplex.
Maybe for another night, but we can sit around and watch it back. How many all his matches. I mean, just
man, oh man. Well, another gentleman that we were very excited about seeing his debut was the other night. It was superstar Jay Lucas as he took on SHW OG Owen Knight. And this was another great matchup that followed that big announcement about Alex Kane. So, GB, we've been talking about it for a long time. We've seen Jay Lucas in other spaces, called some of his stuff in other spaces, and excited and finally getting to see him in a Southern Honor ring. But he had his hands full there, taking on Owen Knight in his SHW debut. What are your thoughts, bud?
Yeah, I thought it was another great match. And, it made me wonder just how nervous a newcomer can be to Southern Honor. When you have been other places and you have a certain move set, and I've experienced this when you go somewhere that you've never been and you're really excited and you want to impress. Sometimes you just try something new that you've never tried before, and that can be a little scary at times. So I knew that there were definitely butterflies the size of grapefruits for Jay Lucas. And he did his best to hold that together. But when you're against a veteran, tried and tested, like an Owen Knight, you're guaranteed to learn something. And I think Jay Lucas learned something with a very impressive showing against Owen Knight.
Absolutely. I enjoy Jay Lucas. I thought he did great. He lived up to the superstar hype. He did. But man, was it nice to have Owen back in the house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have missed him. I have missed him so much, and everything he does. He's just fun to watch. He's fun. I mean, we had a lot of fans on my side of the building that were talking a lot of crap towards Owen. It was kind of pissing me off, but that's my guy. I love Owen. It was kind of making me mad.
I even
But
noticed, I even said that night, it was interesting because here's Owen Knight. He showed back up at
yeah,
Still Here and on Team SHW to defend our honor against
right.
those no good action wrestlers. And then he comes back, and so he's in front of his home turf. And I said it to you guys on commentary. It was a little interesting how many, I talk about Ron having such a great fan
Mhm.
base,
Yeah.
and he's new to SHW. Well,
Yeah.
here's Jay Lucas, his very first night in Southern Honor, had a big fan base, a lot of fan support there. And it was almost like a split crowd. And it kind of
Yes.
shocked me a little bit because I really thought Owen would come into this with, full home field advantage here. And
Mhm.
yeah, but the crowd, you're right. It was very 50-50, I thought.
The new guys must have just really rallied around their friends and family and got them to come out and buy tickets. I don't know.
Well, I'm not mad at that.
I'm not
No,
either.
not at
I
all.
thought
Mad
it
at
Not
was
at
that at
all.
all.
great. It was
Yeah.
great. But it was a great match. Back and forth, a lot of smack talking, and I loved it.
While it was a great match, it was what happened at the end of the match that had a lot of
Hmm.
people talking. So you see Owen Knight going to extend the hand. Owen Knight gets the win, showing the sportsmanship. And it looked like we're going to have a moment there. Great sports, shaking hands. We talked about earlier in the night, we saw the video package from Grayson Pierce. All of a sudden, through the crowd, here comes Grayson Pierce attacking both guys.
Mm.
And then I don't know if it was maybe Jay might have had his back turned and didn't quite see what all happened there because then
Mhm.
Owen trying to help him afterwards, then he gets shoved by Jay Lucas. And so I don't know, like Jay was so confused as to what just happened, if he thought Owen had something to do with it or what. But it makes me wonder there where those guys' heads are at. And I hope it's not the last we see of Jay Lucas, but I really am concerned here with Grayson Pierce. Like, what was his game plan here? What was, I don't want to say in game because no pun intended there, but what was his thought process attacking two guys the caliber of Owen Knight and Jay Lucas? I mean, what was that all about?
I kind of feel like he was trying to attack Jay through Owen, and Jay didn't see how Owen got shoved into him. I don't know. I don't know. It just felt like Grayson was
It
trying to
all
be
happened so
Jay. It
fast.
just happened so fast. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting, but I mean, dang it, Grayson, why you got to act so stupid? Why you got to be so stupid?
Well, I won't call him stupid, but I will say he lacks guidance right now. And in lacking guidance, one of the things that he said in that video was that he was going to bet on himself. And we didn't know what that meant. He also alluded to the fact that the Lost Brothers would become tag team champions. And so I assumed that he might make his presence known in the tag title match. So when he came
Right.
out during this match, I was utterly confused. And, he ran away excited about the chaos he caused. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's just it. He's looking to create chaos in places that we don't expect. And again, you think about how respected an Owen Knight is. One of, when we talk about the champions in Southern Honor, his name comes up because his reign was one of those that we waited for so long, and it was so honorable, and it was done so well. Still the second most title defenses of any SHW champion in history. People loved that title reign. And so if you can attack and defeat a former SHW champion, you're on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what Grayson Pierce was thinking. I'm not sure, but he certainly got us talking, and that was what he wanted.
Yes, he did indeed. And speaking of chaos, of course, a lot of chaos at the end of the show, but chaos that happened prior to the triple threat tag team match at Still Here 6, when the Kenway, who was supposed to be in that match, teaming with Murder One, got attacked
Mhm.
backstage before the match even started. We would come to learn that it was Xander Seabolt, along with the grapplers, that laid the beat down on Kenway backstage, threw a ladder on top of him, bloodied him up. And the Kenway called him out leading into this show and says, I want my pound of flesh. I'm going to return what you did to me tenfold, as Kenway put it. And so we got to see the Kenway taking on Seabolt in singles action here. And what started out is a pretty solid one-on-one matchup would quickly devolve because when we know the grapplers are involved, there could be any number of grapplers around.
Mm.
But it was the way that they went about this where grappler 1 or 2 or 23 or whatever number it was got in the ring and actually hit Seabolt causing Kenway to get disqualified. I mean, like it or not, I mean, I guess it was a brilliant plan on their part. Then they start all attacking the Kenway. Here comes Murder One. They're still outnumbered. Here comes the Southern Honor champion, Joe Black, finally evening it up a little bit. And, well, first of all, before we get to the big bombshell announcement that came from that, what were your thoughts overall with this matchup leading up and then into that disqualification?
Chaos.
Yeah. A night full of chaos.
I mean, a night full of chaos. I mean, who expected Grappler 50,000 hit that? Who expected that? I mean, because you would think they would come out and cause problems for Kenway and distract Kenway. Who would have thought to even do that?
For a split second, I thought, oh, they're kicking Seabolt out of the group. For a split second. And then I realized, wait a second, I see what's going on here. Yeah.
It was weird. It was just weird. I mean, I guess it's smart if you want a quick W, but it was just weird.
That's true. Seabolt in his singles run has a W. So he's got a W in that column. So who knows? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, if we've learned anything, we've learned that the grapplers will take a win by hook or by crook. They don't particularly care. I mean, think about how they won the tag titles. It was in the midst of chaos, right? Pure chaos. And many of their wins came via chaos. So chaos is nothing new to them. I guess they being the grapplers, seemed so unassuming, especially Seabolt. Like this whole Seabolt situation, he just seems like the quiet one in the bunch. Nobody ever notices. He's just there, but he's silent yet deadly.
He's literally the one without mask, and nobody notice.
The only one you can identify, right? And yeah, he is something. And so he certainly didn't hold back against the Kenway, though the Kenway, God bless his soul, almost took out Diana in his anticipation of getting in there and getting to Seabolt. So, his emotions were running wild. But Seabolt found a creative way to get the W, which obviously didn't make the Kenway happy, did not make the hierarchy happy. And whenever an unhappy Murder One gets a mic, problems are going to ensue.
Well, go ahead, GB. Since you're there, just go ahead. Let everybody know if they weren't there that night, if they haven't seen it on IWTV or they haven't seen it on social media. Go ahead and drop the big bombshell that we found out.
The bombshell is that he and the hierarchy are growing tired of this, what has been almost a year-long battle with the grapplers,
as we all are. not of the hierarchy, but of the grapplers in general.
Yeah, and so perhaps the way to settle this once and for all will be a street fight that involves, you, the SHW faithful. As I don't know if it's first time ever, but if it's not, it's first time in a very long time, where fans get to bring the weapons for this match. Now, Murder One clearly knew how off the rails this could go.
Yeah.
Because he cited one of our fans who is known for bringing plunder.
A grocery cart full of plunder.
Yes, he comes prepared. So to now sit at a spot where any fan can bring any weapon, if you've ever wanted to get involved somehow in the world of pro wrestling, this could be your one shot to bring a weapon that will likely be used by some member of the hierarchy against the grapplers.
But we're all members of the hierarchy now.
We all are.
He enlisted everybody. So does that mean that the fans can also throw licks?
Well, I wouldn't try that. I would not advise that. I would advise
the name of the match is fans bring the
weapons
weapons match, not
use the weapons.
Right.
Let's clarify that.
Let's
clarify that right now.
Yeah.
We might want to play this little bit over and over throughout the month.
Yeah.
You can throw your twos up. Throw the twos up. But,
I don't know if I should say this, and I don't know if it goes without saying. So we just have to be very explicit. If we have to tell the fans not to wield their weapons.
And no
But let's
firearms. I'll go ahead and put that out there.
well,
Please.
here's where I was going.
No
I was
firearms.
going no knives, no guns. Please, we have to say these things
You can
because
get creative,
you do.
but
you have. I mean, please, we're not interested in permanently injuring
right.
anyone. So let's use some wisdom, but let's have fun as well. You have
And
time
if you
to
don't
come
have any wisdom, use somebody who does. Okay?
or just bring a sign. Just bring a sign.
Or just bring yourself and cheer.
Yeah.
If you don't know how
So-
to do it, don't do it.
Ooh, I'm nervous.
Sal
about
Renaro
this
took
one.
his
I'm
shoe off
serious.
and was going to use it because what happened when they dropped the bombshell, grappler number 1 or 2 or whoever it was said, no, let's just do it right now. So
Mhm.
immediately Sal Renaro at the commentary would takes his shoe off and goes to hand
Yeah.
it over like, hey, here's a
I
weapon.
was nervous.
And
I was very
and then
nervous.
just when you think, oh, maybe we're gonna have this brawl right here, right now, then the grapplers hightail it and get out of there. So that is going to be set, though. It has been made official by our matchmaker. Fans bring the weapons, the hierarchy versus the grapplers, December 6th at SHW69. It's our final show
Ugly.
of the year. It's going to be huge. You're not going to want to miss it. And we're not even done talking about this show yet. So, man, oh man. GB, earlier you talked about the grapplers and the shady way they won those tag titles. Well, that's going to lead us into the tag title match that we had. It was the Infantry taking on the former Faithful, but now we learn they are just now family. They're the Lost Brothers, Alexander Lev and Adrian Ward, the wrestling's warden. And man, oh man, all about a whole bunch of guys that we've seen their entire career coming through the Nightmare Factory, and now they're on the big stage here at Southern Honor at SHW68, big tag team championship matchup. And my hat's off there to the Warden and Lev putting up a heck of a fight for Carly and Sean Dean. But man, what a match it was! Another successful title defense for the Infantry, but the Lost Brothers didn't make it easy.
Diana.
They didn't. What is that move that Warden does where he's like, he spins you around and just body slams you into the mat?
Oh,
Well, he does one called the Valley of Ashes. I don't know if that's the one
Yeah.
you're thinking of, but yeah.
When he just picks you up
Yeah,
and he just
I think
spins you,
that's
you
the
kind of
one.
like flat,
Yeah.
and then he just straight. There was too much of that going on. There was a lot of that going on. I mean, it was.
He's a big dude. He's hard to
He
deal
is.
with. Yeah.
He is definitely a big dude and very difficult to deal with. I'm glad of the outcome. Thank you, Lord. But yeah, that was a battle. I mean, we talked about, the infantry and how they're military guys and they're ready for the fight. But that was quite a battle. I mean, what would we call that? The battle of whatever. I don't know. That would be kind of fun. But anyway, I'm just kind of spitballing. But still, Lev and Warden did not make it easy, like you said. But the infantry did come up and win. I'm proud of that.
Not just that, but this may have been the most agile we've ever seen the Warden.
My
The
gosh.
things that he was doing, that flip to the inside of the ring and hitting like a 300-pounder should not move like that. And so again, I don't know if it is now shedding the faithful things, but finding each other even while they're lost. But that really moved him and propelled him, I think.
Motivated for the titles.
Yeah, well, that too. I think there were a number of factors coming into that. And so I do think that those two may find themselves in the championship picture once again. But huge congratulations to the infantry.
Yes.
Who then went on to explain, Carly did, why he chose to challenge for the tag titles when he could have challenged for other championships. And in there, he basically said he knows that the world is watching the infantry on Ring of Honor and AEW. And since the whole world is watching, what better way to showcase Southern Honor than to become the tag team champions? And so we love to see that. There's a lot of attention on the infantry right now. And they laid out what I think is an amazing moment. Tell us about that.
Yeah,
Brandon.
absolutely. We talked about a bombshell announcement earlier in the night from Murder One. Another big bombshell where, you harken back to John Cena and the Open, the U.S. title
Yes.
Open challenge that he laid out. And that became a big thing at one point. And now the Southern Honor Tag Team Championships. The infantry have laid it out. It's an open challenge. Come one, come all, whoever wants it. He said no more number one contenders. It's been cleared through Jake the Snake, our matchmaker, and it's come one, come all. If you want a shot at the infantry, step up. Step up and see what you can do. And so now I am so excited about this because that means anybody. We could see absolutely any tag team in the entire world stop through SHW and get a shot at the Southern Honor Tag Team titles and the infantry. And these guys, like you said, they're on fire. They've been doing big things in ROH and AEW. And yeah, I mean, they're getting bigger by the day. And man, I'm so happy that they are our tag team champions. You know what I mean? It was like they came home. You know, they started in SHW and now they've come home. They've captured their first titles, the tag titles, and man, I can't wait to see where this open challenge goes and who might show up. It could be absolutely. It won't be me and Gerard, I don't think, unless we didn't talk about this.
Oh,
but
I no.
Yeah. Okay, no, yeah. Of course, I'm retired. Anyways, another big bombshell. I can't wait. And again, December 6th is right around the corner. We haven't heard any match announcements other than the big fans bring the weapons match. So I don't know if we're going to have this open challenge so that somebody's going to step up in December. I guess time will tell. We'll find out over the next few weeks once the matches start getting announced. But all right, guys, here we go. I've been kind of dreading getting to this part of the show, but we had to get to it. It was the main event. It was we talked about all the chaos through the night. If you saw social media on Saturday and over the weekend and then into this week, you've seen what happened. The clip that will end up on IWTV got put up there just of the end of the show, like the last 6 or 8 minutes, whatever it was. We see the lights go out. We see the lights come back on. Bryce Cannon's in the ring, making his return. He's been out for whatever it is, 8 months, something crazy like that. Most of the year, at least. And I was hoping it would be permanently, but sorry, I'm a little biased. You understand why he hit me with a car. So anyways, he hits Gunnar Miller with the frat paddle, gives Exotic Youth the win. And up to that point, by the way, it was an absolutely insane Canton street fight. I mean, we were seeing Gary Lamb just take the beating of a lifetime, but then we were also seeing Gunnar with that kendo stick giving Exotic Youth the beating of a lifetime, just exploding that kendo stick, just beating what out of those guys. Cannon shows up, gets the win for EY. And then it was what happened after. I'm going to let you guys touch on it because I'm still sick. Even with Bryce Cannon showing up, I was already nauseous. And then after that, we were lost for words. I mean, you saw it on the video if you watched it online, but you guys, where are your heads at? What are you thinking?
Well, as usual, after every show, we're left with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
And this is a big one. Why, Gunnar? Why? What happened? Where did Matt Griffin come from? I thought he was gone. I thought he was sent back to Tyrone. I mean,
we all did.
What I mean, and we saw him in his alliance with Kevin Ryan and how that panned out. But we didn't see anything happening with Gunnar, and this is just I don't understand. I have so many thoughts I don't want to share right now because I need to get them out off air and then maybe spit them out another time. But right now, I just don't understand.
Well, GB, just so you can set what happened here. I stopped before I even got to that part because again, it makes me nauseous even thinking back on it. But to kind of set up exactly what happened and where how the Matt Griffin thing came into play.
Yeah. So again, the main event, the tag team match between Gunnar Miller and Gary Lamb versus Exotic Youth, Canton Street fight. As Brandon mentioned at the end, the lights went out. You've got the returning Bryce Cannon who makes the difference where Exotic Youth gets the win, which is still very awkward to say. Then from there, somehow, some way, literally emerging from the darkness on the stage is Matt Griffin, who I thought we were done with after
Right.
the Action All-Stars were defeated by the SHW Originals, where he got his clock cleaned in that match because he decided to insert himself as their own third man after he fired Kevin Ryan. So we were certain we were done with Matt Griffin. Matt Griffin is at the top of the stage and he's just looking around. And all of a sudden, we look back in the ring as Gary Lamb is looking at Matt Griffin. Gary turns around and suddenly Gunnar Miller spears Gary Lamb.
Out of his shoe.
Literally out of his shoe. It's a sentence I never thought I'd be saying. And it shocked everybody. Nobody knew what to make of this. Why would Gunnar Miller do this to Gary Lamb? And I said it on commentary, and I'll try to say it a bit calmer here, but Gary Lamb was the only one willing to take a chance on Gunnar Miller. When Gunnar Miller left this business, he basically was canceled. He was canceled because of his own doing. Gary Lamb said, I'm going to give you a shot. It's why Gunnar Miller is only working exclusively for Southern Honor. You don't see him on other shows, and you haven't ever since he returned. He took 2 years off. He's been back for about it'll be 5 years in December. Hasn't worked anywhere else. Why would you turn your back? This man gave him an opportunity in his other venture, the Elevate Fight League. He's given this guy all kinds of opportunities. So I don't know why, but I told you guys at the top of the show that I had something else I wanted to tell you that you all aren't aware of. And I don't know if this happened to you, but throughout the week, everything else that's been going on in my world, I get a tweet from Gunnar Miller.
Oh.
Gunnar Miller said the following words. Now, just to put context to it, on this particular day, which was like maybe Monday or Tuesday, all I did was change my profile picture on X, Twitter. That's all I did. And this is his response to me. He says, quote, I haven't heard commentary, but you better choose your words wisely as we close out the year. I expect you and the team to be on the right side of history, my side. End quote.
Wow.
So now Gunnar Miller is out here threatening commentators as well. Yeah. And if people think I'm joking, I retweeted it when it happened to show people that I'm not joking about this. I have no idea why Gunnar Miller is coming after me. I've done nothing to the man. And I don't know if he heard what I said, but what I said was the truth. I don't take that back. There's no denying that. I don't know what he's planning to do to me or to any of us, but I don't know what kind of environment he's trying to create around here. And I don't know with Matt Griffin on his side what that's going to mean. And, you know, people have now seen that Gary Lamb is stepping away for a while. He says it had nothing to do with Gunnar Miller, though if you got speared out of your shoes, I probably wouldn't show up either. So I don't know what this means all of a sudden, because, you know, there are moments where I felt danger. You know, we've dealt with David Ali, you know, him, you know, putting a barbed wire bat to my throat. We've dealt with, you know, wrestlers staring at us in the face, but none have ever Judas, you know,
yeah,
but none have ever publicly made threats like this.
Wow.
So I don't know. I don't know what this means, and I don't know what's gotten in to Gunnar Miller at this point. But I'm nervous about what's to come.
Yeah, I have no idea
what side he's even on, other than being on the wrong side with Matt Griffin. How are we supposed to know what side he is even on?
And we don't even know why.
Where he's coming from with all this.
Well, that's interesting. They said his side, the right side, whatever, because anything involving Matt Griffin is obviously the wrong side. Like I don't
Right.
understand that at all.
I mean, did
I have
Gary
seen his.
wrong Gunner and we don't know
Yeah,
about
I
it?
don't know if something happened that behind closed doors, behind the scenes that we're unaware of. Now he's taking it out on everybody. I'm not really sure what to make of it. I have seen a few of his posts throughout the week where I won't repeat what he says, but he's just says Gary Lamb is still a expletive.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've
And
seen a few of those this week, but yeah.
and so this might be news to some people, though, if you're in the Georgia wrestling community. Gary Lamb has made his fair share of enemies over the last 6 years. I don't think anybody
It's
is
easy for him to make enemies.
surprised by that. I
Yeah.
mean,
What?
like he, and so if somehow, some way, there's been some disagreement between Gunner and Gary that we don't know about, and you're upset with Gary and you wanted to get mad with Gary and get back at Gary, okay. But threatening us
Yeah.
Right.
and
Leave everybody
threatening the
else
rest
out
of
of it.
this company,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that.
Mm.
Don't know what to do with it.
Wow. You weren't lying,
We
GB.
definitely
That
got
is
to
a-
have some kind of explanation. We need to get to the bottom of this, and I don't know if it's going to take having Gunner on to explain his side, or even to say what he wants
I'm
to
not
say.
inviting him on. Are you kidding me? No way.
I mean,
Not
you
after
wouldn't want him
that.
on? I mean,
After the
he's gonna-
kind of week I've had, to have that happen too, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm really good.
Here's what I'm nervous about. And, what you said moving forward, we're all nervous, yes, but December 6th isn't that far away.
No.
What in the world is going to happen at that show? I mean, this show was so chaotic already. We already know we've got a fans bring the weapons match. Of course, that's involving the hierarchy and the grapplers. I assume, I don't know. I'm guessing Gunner and Matt Griffin will be in the house, perhaps. And if so, hopefully we will find out some answers because we were all left wondering what was going on. I mean, you saw the video. If you haven't yet, go on social media. You'll see the end of the show. We posted it on the socials, and you can see the confusion. You can see the chaos. I mean, it turned into a riot. The trash was coming in the ring.
Yeah.
Fans throwing pickles. Fans throwing empty cans and empty bottles and full bottles. And I mean, just all kinds of stuff. It got a little dangerous in there and got a little scary, I'll be honest. Because when you're inside the guardrails and chaos is ensuing like that, it's like you don't have anywhere to duck for cover. I mean, you remember back 5 years ago, whenever it was, and Danny got hit in the head with a trash can. When something like that happened. That's the only other time I remember chaos breaking down like that, and that was when the new era came in to try to take over the company. Is Matt Griffin and Gunnar Miller trying to take over the company? I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. Again, December 6th, SHW69. Maybe we'll get some answers. I do not know. But as Diana said, at a lot of these shows, we end up leaving with more questions than answers. And hopefully we'll find something out in the meantime. But, oh, man, I'm sorry that happened, GB. I did not see that. And knock on wood, luckily I haven't posted anything that's received any kind of repost or comment or anything like that from.
I just changed my picture. That's all I did.
And I almost said from the people's captain. And now I'm thinking like, well, I don't know that I can call him that anymore. Because not only did he turn on Gary, he turned on Southern Honor. He turned on the fans. So I don't even know that we can call him the people's captain anymore. So I don't know. It was an insane night. Do yourselves a favor. Go back and watch it on IWTV when it drops. It's I got to tell you, fans, there's nothing like, we do appreciate you watching it back on IWTV. In fact, we want you to go back and watch it because that way you can hear all of our voices on the show and hear our commentary along with it. But I'm telling you guys, you have to be there live. There's nothing like seeing it live. So bring all your friends, bring all your family, come out to our shows. It's nothing like seeing it live and in person, even when it is chaotic like that. Because I will tell you what, the people that were there, it will be a night they will never forget.
That's true.
It's a night we'll never forget. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
It'll be one of those nights that lives on in infamy in the annals of Southern Honor Wrestling history. That's for sure. But well, that was SHW68 in a nutshell, folks. But man, oh man, like I said, December 6th, 69, SHW69. It's going to be our final show of the year. Can you believe that? Final show of 2024 is already coming up. But we'll probably be back in the meantime, in between time, before that show, with another episode of this. But until then, this has been
SHW.
This is our wrestling.
Boom.